Annette Bening, it is so cool to be in the same room as you.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations on this film. I absolutely loved it for so many different reasons. One of the main ones, it's not a reboot, not a reimagining, not what else do they call it, a remake. It's an original story. And in this day and age, it's so hard to come by those. What did you love about the story that this film tells?
Well, when I read it, I related so much to my own life because I grew up in San Diego at this time in the 70s. So I just was looking at it from a personal standpoint. I just felt like, I felt like I understood my own time and the time that I was from in a way that I hadn't before. And I loved it. I loved that it has a kind of humor, but it's also got melancholy, and it's also got longing and loss, and it's got so much in it.
It's so real, and you don't see that at the cinema anymore.
Yeah, that's right. It is. It's real, and it's people with flaws, but also, I don't know, there's also a lot of humor in the way that even painful things are dealt with in a humorous way.
Your character of Dorothea is based on Mike's mum. Was there a pressure in portraying her, or could you make her the character that you wanted to make her?
You know, there wasn't a pressure. My only pressure is I wanted him to be happy because Mike is this amazing person and he's a beautiful man, and clearly he was so invested. But we just started talking about his mom, and we were talking and talking and talking for months and months. And then I realized my head was exploding with all these contradictions and paradoxes because she was so complicated and he saw her in such a complicated way. And then I realized, no, that's good. I don't have to worry about that. So as I thought more and more about it, I just let it sift in. And then what I really wanted to try to find was a place where I didn't know what I was going to do when I was working, and that because the other actors are so wonderful, giving so much, I could just really focus on them and react more to what they were doing rather than think about what I was doing.
There's so many lines in this film that I love. Like, I love going to a film and walking away and still thinking about it later.
Yeah.
But one of the lines I really liked came from Abby. She said, "Whatever you think life is going to be like, just know it's not going to be anything like that." What did 20-something Annette think that life would be like, and what would she say about the way your life turned out now?
Well, I certainly would never have guessed that my life would be turning out this way. I mean, I always wanted to have children, so I would have thought about that, and that came very early. I wanted to be a classical actress, and at that point, that was really what I was focused on, was being in the theater and learning about classical theater and all of those writers and all of that thinking. So I was thinking more about that and hoping that I might work one day. Having never really known actors or known people in the theater, I was unsure whether I'd ever actually get to do it.
And then you go and have a stellar career. But before we talk about your stellar career, let's rewind the clock to 1986. On IMDb, your very first TV listing is Manhunt for Claude Delis. Do you remember that? And do you remember how you felt turning up the first day to work and going, I can call myself an actor?
I remember it really well. I was at the Denver Center Theater Company, so I was in a repertory company. I was doing Pygmalion at the time. That I remember. And I remember that there was some very good actors in that. Matt Salinger was in it, and a wonderful character actor named Pat Hingle, who was a legendary American actor. And I remember I was the girl in the bar that he talked to for 2 minutes. So he comes into the bar and he talks to me, and I guess he's an outlaw on the run. And we shot it, and they said, "Okay, cut, you can go outside." And I thought, wow, that is so fast. And that's all they're gonna do, is they just shoot it, and then now we're done, we're going on to something else. Well, I had no idea that they were gonna do 2 shots and close-ups. I mean, that's how little I knew about working with the camera. So what I remember about that is just learning a few basics that I think probably other people would have already known.
And now when you turn up to work, are you still excited? Like when your director calls action, how do you feel?
I am still very excited. I'm very intrigued. I'm always nervous, and that's
Really?
yeah. I mean, I don't know if nervous is the correct quite the right word, but I think most of us carry with us a certain amount of uncertainty and fear, and just you're in a state of unknowing. It's like being on a trip or on a trek, and you're on a path and you don't know where it is that you're going. So there's a certain sense of uncertainty, but then it's necessary. If you're only on roads that you've always been on, then you never have a sense of discovery. So there's a little bit of an edge to that and a necessary sort of unknowingness. So that's very exciting. Although I will say sometimes when they say action, it just makes you want to run the other way. Because everyone else becomes very quiet, and there's hundreds of people around doing a million things, and then suddenly when the camera's on you and they say action, sometimes I do have a tendency to want to run the other way, but I don't.
I'm so glad that you haven't. Thank you for everything you've done for us, Annette.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank
Lovely
you
to
so
meet
much.
you.
What a pleasure.